Hey, you, welcome back to Richard Bey Talk. I am the eponymous host of this podcast, and I do appreciate you subscribing or listening. If you do subscribe, you'll never miss one. And if you don't subscribe, you should be subscribing to this podcast. And if you can't watch it on YouTube, listening to it on all of the audio services that have podcasts. Google and Spotify and Apple and God knows what else these days. All right, I'm going to talk a bit about rebranding. When the Richard Bey Show went off the air, it was a wild and crazy kind of show. Everybody said to me, you've got to reinvent yourself. You've got to rebrand yourself. I go, when I did that show, I was me. When I did the show where I interviewed President Carter, I was me. When I was an actor, well, I wasn't exactly me. I was playing characters, but it's still me. But this whole idea in the media that you go in and you reinvent who you are. You've seen it, perhaps over and over again, and people saying this. But perhaps the two greatest feats of rebranding, of reinvention, were achieved by two New York con men. One, Al Sharpton, the other, Donald Trump. Donald Trump was seen as a joke in New York. Spy magazine used to call him the short-fingered vulgarian. He wasn't respected for his wisdom or his acumen or anything except his vulgarity in New York. And perhaps he still is, but he became president. And Al Sharpton. Whoa. Remember the Tawana Brawley case? There was a district attorney that they accused of raping this young black girl. And it went on and on and on. That district attorney sued Sharpton and received a very large settlement for that. You would think somebody that perpetrated that kind of hoax would never be able to come back. But he's now a respected civil rights figure, a host on MSNBC. When I had him on the show, and I have to say this, he is a likable character when you meet him. When I had him on the show, I said, you are the P.T. Barnum of civil rights. Sometimes you bring me, even P.T. Barnum, wasn't just a con man. He had Jenny Lind, who was a really great singer that he brought over from Sweden. He had Tom Thumb, the smallest man in the world. Well, the guy was really small, but he also took a horn, stuck it on a donkey, and said, come see the unicorn. So sometimes you were being conned, and sometimes you saw something that really had true entertainment value. And I'd say to Al Sharpton, you're like that. You're like somebody coming in here, and sometimes you give me a diamond, and sometimes you give me a zircon, and you call it a diamond. And I would say, I really don't blame you for doing that, because like P.T. Barnum, his job was selling entertainment. Your job is selling civil rights, persecution, victimization, racism. And it's my job. It's my job to look at what you bring me and say, this is a diamond. This is a zircon. Sometimes I got it right, but not all the time. So Al Sharpton and I also became, well, I could say that we were friends. He invited me to his birthday party. In fact, the New York Post reported about it because at the time there was a black radical who had said, do we have that clip? Do we have that? There it goes. Weight was the leitmotif of the birthday roast for the rotund Reverend Al Sharpton at the Cotton Club last week. The best punch line of the night went to Richard Bey of 9 Broadcast Plaza, who was dubbed the only, quote, white journalist in town who had the nerve to show up, unquote. Bey told the crowd of heavyweights, Sonny Carson, who was a black radical at the time, told my viewers when he was on the show that Jeffrey Dahmer proves that white people want to eat black people, because he had also been a cannibal who ate some black people. Well, if that's the case, Al Sharpton proves black people will eat anything. Now, today I might be facing some sort of internet consternation over that joke from those who are saying you were fat shaming, or those who are saying that it's a racist joke. I don't know, but it was a joke. But it's also demonstrative of the kind of reinvention Al Sharpton went through. He lost so much weight that he should be on the air promoting the Al Sharpton diet, whether it works or it doesn't. Because when you watch these clips, see if that's the same Al Sharpton you see today on MSNBC many nights of the week. Let's take a look at those clips.
If you want an answer, then I'll answer you.
If you get caught, you with your hand in the cookie jar.
How
and
are
you
you
say, I just came over here to get a cookie.
Well, Richard, first of all,
that's not like,
that is
you can't stand around and say I'm an honest person.
That is a very biased statement.
Have you paid your taxes in 3 years?
To not pay your taxes is not have your hand in the cookie jar, because you don't even know if I owe taxes until I file them, do you? So you don't even know if there is a cookie jar.
But Reverend Sharpton...
So why don't you deal with that? How do you know there is a cookie jar?
It's against the law.
The same article said they evicted me because I can't pay my rent.
It's against the
law
where's
the
not
cookie
to
jar,
file
Richard?
for your taxes. You can go to prison for 6 years.
Then why is it in the paper?
That
and why
is the
didn't
law.
Why didn't they indict me?
That is the law
why
for people.
Why didn't they indict me?
That is the law.
Why didn't they indict me, Richard?
Maybe they will.
No, maybe you and everybody else don't have any evidence of that.
That was the State Attorney General, Robert Abrams, referring to Reverend Al Sharpton. Reverend Al Sharpton referred to him when he was arraigned on 67 counts of fraud and grand larceny. He said the Attorney General is insane. He was accused of stealing more than $250,000 from the National Youth Movement, an organization that he heads, but that's not all. He was also arraigned on charges of income tax evasion, of not filing taxes since 1987, and in previous years filing false claims over his income taxes. He could face 7 years in prison, $500,000 in fines. Now, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but according to press reports, you have been quoted as saying that you shouldn't have to pay taxes. Black Americans should not pay income tax.
I believe that black people should file tax returns and go into civil court and argue that if we can pay reparations to the Japanese, if we can pay reparations to Germany and Japan, we can pay reparations to black people.
So your feeling is... We should point out that you brought some of your supporters with you today in the audience.
And you brought some of yours, so we balanced it out.
Well, mine are just general audience people who showed up, had no idea. No, they knew you were going to be here. These people that came to see the show today had no idea you were even going to be on the show.
Well, there are people that I'm sure that had no idea I'd be on the show would agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. Whether you agree or disagree with whether blacks have reparations does not give you the right to criminally charge me for not filing. And I'm not charged with not paying. I'm charged with filing. And I agree you should file, because I don't believe that people should not document what they make in a country. When it gets down to the dollars, I think America owes me a lot more than I owe America.
Okay. Your charge is this is a personal vendetta over the Tawana Brawley case.
Absolutely.
He's trying to get back at you.
Absolutely.
Well, if that's the truth,
how can I defraud the state, not defraud the federal government? You pay tax together. And they had 2 grand juries in the federal government look at this. How come nobody but Abrams could come with a charge?
Okay. Well, we'll find out when we go to court, because if everything's as clear as you say, you'll be acquitted, right?
And everything will be clear as I say, and I look for you to be in court.
But do you, as a character witness?
Well, on his side or mine, it doesn't matter.
Well, if I'm subpoenaed, I will go, which is more I can say.
Take the subpoena out.
More than I can say for Glenda Brawley. Right? All right.
See, even you can't talk straight without putting politics in, because you know that it's
Glenda
all
Brawley
political.
was subpoenaed and she didn't show up. If
Glenda
I'm subpoenaed, I will show up.
What is Glenda Brawley?
You were her advisor, and you probably...
And that is why I was indicted. Thank you very much.
Well, you were her advisor, and you advised her not to show up when she was subpoenaed to testify.
Because I did not think that it was a proper subpoena and that they were properly trying to investigate a case.
Okay. You don't think this is a proper case either?
All right. To be fair to Al Sharpton, I do have to admit that when I predicted that he might be indicted, he was indicted, as you saw. But to be entirely honest and fair to Al, he was acquitted when it went to court. So he was right about that. Anyway, thank you for watching us on this short version of the Richard Bey Talk podcast. Like Schrodinger's cat, I am two places at once. I am here in the podcast, and I am in New York somewhere, maybe going to the theater, to a matinee, or just enjoying the city, the place we call the city, Manhattan. So once again, please subscribe if you find this entertaining and informative, and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for joining me once again, and all my best. Take care.